I always have a radar on rebounding. Sometimes you get them, sometimes you don't. But a team that shoots as many threes as they do, that requires all the guards to come back and help the bigs catch those long rebounds. Just be alert. They have a couple wings that crash the glass, so you got to put bodies on them. But when you do get those rebounds, it helps us get into the break a little quicker because the guards got the ball, and obviously, um, it helps us just keep them to one shot. So that I'll get double digits every game, but I have the same intentions, like we should.
Steph, how much different was the defense without the shot blocking you had against Memphis? Was it a drastic compared to Game 6 of the last?
To know, like Powell and Maxi Kleber are different than Steven Adams and Jared Jackson, but they still are a challenge in terms of you don't want to get into a crowd and you don't want to get in positions where you don't have any outlets. And for the most part, we we had a couple possessions in the third quarter where we got in trouble, but for the most part, we were pretty decisive on what we wanted to attack. And once you get into the paint, you do have a couple more options, but you just got to be assertive and decisive on what you're trying to do. JP got into the paint a bunch of times. Obviously finished. I think I had a couple in transition, but when we get in there, there are opportunities to shoot, but there's also opportunities to kick and create the good Warrior basketball ball movement that we're used to. So that's one game. We got to understand there'll probably be adjustments and respond accordingly.
Wiggins was picking up Luka full court at times. You're a guy obviously that the defenses sometimes do that too. Does that annoy a ball handler when you got a guy kind of constantly up in you?
Yeah, it does, and so it's a tactic, obviously, in terms of just making guys work. Reggie did it to me a couple of times. It's just one more thing to think about. I wouldn't say it bothers you, but something you can't try to overcome. Waves is going to keep doing it, but it's just one more thing to think about, and that's good playoff basketball.
What'd you just think about his individual defense tonight, mostly on Luka?
He took the challenge, and Luka's tough, man. Like he still finds a way to control possessions. You got to assume he'll shoot a little bit better, but Wiggs was relentless. Every possession he was out there on him, and that's all we really want. Like even if Luka has his numbers, you just want him at the end of the day feel like he had to work for everything he got and not give him anything easy. And we have to be able to help him on the backside, our rotations, and they want to try to bring me and JP into the pick and rolls. Communicate the Wiggs, let him know where it's coming from, and be on a string. But that point of attack, Wiggs was awesome, and he's showing what he's capable of on that end of the floor.
Steph, there was a play in the third quarter. You got trapped in the corner. You had to throw kind of a tough pass, maybe kind of a wild pass out to Draymond.
That's what I do, throw wild passes.
that play could have gone a lot of different directions, but it ends in obviously a big three. How would you kind of just describe the way that unfolds and the read that you and Draymond have to make that happen, and obviously the difficulty of the pass itself?
It was a long shot pass. I just told them in the locker room just a minute ago. I said when I threw it and I looked back and I saw it's not going anywhere near Loon, who I was trying to throw it to, and I saw Draymond save it. Sigh of relief on that one, but the way we play, once you get it, the first pass, they had two guys on me, and then we have more actions to follow. That's what we've been doing for years, and there's a chemistry to that. So, good things usually happen, and especially the way they try to take away the 3-point line on the initial attack. We had like Loon setting a nice down screen for me to get a shot. We had guys cutting on the backside of another possession. So, great chemistry in terms of creating offense that way, minus the behind the head pass.
You're immediately sprinting out though to catch that pass back from Draymond. Does he already know you're going to do that? Does Loon already know you're going to do that to set that pick? Like
Absolutely.
how quickly are they figuring out that that's where this is heading?
That's just patterns. You just see me down the floor, Loon in position, set a screen, and as soon as I take my first step back towards the ball coming off the down screen, like I'm sure Draymond's not looking at anything else. I didn't see the play, but I'm sure his eyes didn't go to the weak side at all. It's just patterns that we're used to, and you could look at a lot of different plays tonight that showed that chemistry in terms of just read and react motion offense.
Steph, was tonight as, I guess, as strong or as focused as the defensive performance that you guys have had all playoff as far as start to finish? And secondarily, how has Andrew evolved or changed since he's been here, since he's been in this, Warriors culture?
I don't know how to compare the rest other games, other series, but obviously when you get to this stage, you do have to elevate your execution if you want to win, because the competition gets better, and Dallas is tough. So we did a good job with one game. We got to keep doing it over and over and over again. So however you grade the execution, we got to keep leveling up. And Wiggs is understanding the nuances of what winning basketball is and just how to key in on the little things in terms of consistent effort on defense, taking those one-on-one challenges, being aggressive on the offensive end, using his athletic ability to get to the rim if he needs to, confident shooting a three, being comfortable in our offense, to Howard's question. So there's like a lot of different things that he's understanding that this time, in terms of a playoff run, requires to win games, and the joy that comes with that. So it's not like he's out there scoring 30 every night. It's the other things that help you win and the joy that you get out of it.
Steph, when you guys play in this building, do you kind of know in the back of your mind that offensive avalanche is coming eventually, whether it's the second, third, or fourth quarter?
There's always that confidence. The Memphis series kind of shook us a little bit from time to time, where 3 quarters, 3.5 quarters, it didn't seem to be clicking. But again, we're all still trying to continue to get better and peak at the right time on both ends of the floor, and we do have the ability to turn it up pretty quickly. You don't want to rely on that and be playing from behind a lot, but it is how we play. And when you have that ability to create separation like we did in the third quarter, it's a fun way to play.
You mentioned the Memphis series. Is this series with the difference? Maybe this one this is more mental, where you have to focus on the 5 out. You just can't leave a 3-point shooter, and it's more of that kind of thing than Memphis maybe was physical and aggressiveness. Is that oversimplifying it, or is that the way this feels?
A little bit, because there's a lot of nuance to what Memphis did offensively that you had to be aware of. I think this one probably has the potential to be very similar to the last series, where a lot of adjustments from game to game, and you got to be able to react on the fly. Especially in that first quarter, settle into what the flow of the game is, because it's 2 entirely different paces that their comfort zone versus our comfort zone. And you have one guy that can literally dominate a possession if you let him get to spots that he's comfortable with. So that's my best answer for that.
Steph, who's the best mid-range shooter on the team?
It's a good question. Probably Otto.
Do free throws count as mid-range jumpers?
And that's definitely not me right now.
You've talked about like the movement and the passing and that Warriors basketball. Would it be fair to say that the movement made y'all?
Hey, David's gonna be hype about that one. That's phenomenal. Yeah, the movement made us tonight. So shout out to David Dennis on the assist right there. That was nice. That was nice.
You Clay and Draymond have all made note that you haven't played in games with these kinds of stakes for about 3 years now. As you get closer, we're in the conference finals now. Is the energy familiar? Is it familiar but different this time around? Is it entirely different?
We're super comfortable on this stage. I think it's more so just the understanding that because we've been away for 2 years and this is a different team, there's a sense of urgency of how important. It's even hard to say that because every time you go through this, it's important. But there's more gratitude of being back here, and there's more of a sense of urgency on not letting that opportunity kind of slip away. So who knows how it plays out, but I'm enjoying every bit of this. I know Clay is as well, Draymond is, because we haven't played meaningful games and at this time of year, in 2 years. So it's special, and that level of comfort when we're out there, it's shown itself, these last 2 series, and hopefully it'll continue to be a key for us to kind of fall back on that experience of what it means what it takes to win, tough playoff games.
You guys strayed away from Looney for a while, tried a bunch of different starting lineups. It has now gotten back to Looney the last couple games. Do you feel like you've rediscovered a little bit kind of who you were during the regular season? He started 80 of the 82 games, and you guys kind of were a defense first unit.
Yeah, the regular season's interesting because, like you said, we started off so well, and when Clay came back, things got shuffled around. I got hurt towards the end of the year, after Draymond was out for however long he was. He just had a lot of experimenting with starting lineups, and the last 12 games we were trying to find an offensive kind of jump start, and that was a tough decision to pull him out of the starting lineup for that 1 or 2 games, and then he got back in there. So it was necessary, I think, with where we were as a team and the revolving door of who was available. But it's also part of who we are in terms of things can change really quickly in terms of who's supposed to start, what matchups work in our favor. The ability to adapt from game to game, like we did in Game 6 in the last series, and it all falls back to the chemistry of, even you talk about spacing issues with Loon and Draymond and all that, we still find a way to kind of overcome that. So there's a lot of confidence in what Loon brings, and he's been playing. You got to give him credit. Obviously, he's been playing amazing and making his opportunity worth it.
Since you're reflecting a little bit, do you remember what you thought when Clay said it's championship or bust? That's in November. You guys are 15-2 at the time.
He said that this year? I missed it.
November.
I was confused.
November, a couple months before he came back, and you guys were 15-2 at that stage. So
it's funny because him being away, I'm sure I expected him to say something like that just in anticipation of him coming back. But like I said, it's an exciting time to be back on the stage. We're not skipping ahead any part of this journey. We understand that we just won 1 game in the Western Conference Finals, and we got a lot of work left ahead of us to get back to the final. So we'd love to make him a profit this year.
You mentioned your free throws and missing the 2 at the beginning. When you miss 2 shots in a set like that, how does that change your mental or mindset? Not in a discouraging way, but do you ever kind of say, I want to avenge those missed free throws?
Always. It's funny. And I got the tip back and I hit a mid-range. It was nice. Got the 2 points back, but I shook this one off. You always just talk to yourself, no matter if you're missing shots or free throws or whatever it is. You just talk positive to yourself about what's coming next. I think I blamed it on the 4-day break tonight in my head, and then try to just shake it off. Whatever you can to motivate yourself. I don't ever lose confidence. It's just that self-talk that helps.
Right, great. Let's just go to one on Zoom. Alexander, go ahead.
Thank you. Steph, congratulations on the great victory. I can ask you for the next game, how to avoid getting surprised by Dallas. Same two teams, but what do you expect to happen the next game? And another question on 4 for TV, Radio TV of Serbia, about Dejan Milojevic, a new assistant coach this season. Have had a chance to work with him, and what are your thoughts about him joining the team?
He's been a huge help to us. Obviously, he's been working with Wise most of the year and trying to mold him into the player that he wants to be. He gives us a lot of good sets that he draws up, gives a coach from time to time. And he's just a hooper. I saw some clips of him playing overseas. He knows how to play. And he has just a good eye for the game. So he'll give you some gems during timeouts and stuff to kind of look out for. So it's been great to get to know him and his basketball mind. It's been awesome. And we're used to playoff adjustments and game, being prepared and not kind of getting too complacent from game to game because we know we haven't done anything yet. So, you enjoy and celebrate the win. You understand where we could get better tonight, and then you expect them to play better. So we have to elevate our competitiveness and focus to maintain control of the series.
Do you feel the home
Great,
court
thank you, sir.
advantage?
Appreciate that. So for tomorrow, I believe their media is at noon here.